रेडियो उड़ान की अपडेट्स लेने के लिए इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए और इस वीडियो को ज्यादा से ज्यादा लाइक कीजिए और शेयर कीजिए। फॉर मोर इन्फो लॉग ऑन टू www.radioudan.com।
वेब एक्सेसिबिलिटी टेस्टिंग हमेशा से एक चुनौती रही है, लेकिन इस चुनौती का अब समाधान उपलब्ध है। बैरियर ब्रेक का एली इंस्पेक्ट ब्राउजर एक्सटेंशन। फिर चाहे आप कोड की लाइन ढूंढने में स्ट्रगल कर रहे हों, स्क्रीनशॉट्स ले लेकर थक गए हों या फिर बुकमार्कलेट्स में उलझे हों, इन सभी समस्याओं का एक ही समाधान, बैरियर ब्रेक का एली इंस्पेक्ट ब्राउजर एक्सटेंशन, जो समस्याओं का समाधान करता है, गलतियों की तलाश करता है और वेब एक्सेसिबिलिटी टेस्टिंग को बनाता है और भी आसान। इस एक्सटेंशन को इस्तेमाल करने के लिए आज ही लॉगिन करें www.barrierbreak.com/eliinspect www.barrierbreak.com/A11YINSPECT। ये एक्सटेंशन क्रोम और एज जैसे मेजर ब्राउजर्स के लिए उपलब्ध है। बैरियर ब्रेक का एली इंस्पेक्ट ब्राउजर एक्सटेंशन, वेब एक्सेसिबिलिटी टेस्टिंग का उत्कृष्ट समाधान।
जी हाँ दोस्तों, नमस्कार, आदाब, सत श्री अकाल। मैं दानिश महाजन प्रोग्राम बदलता दौर में आपका स्वागत करता हूँ। आज का शो बेहद खास, हम आपको एक बहुत ही डायनामिक पर्सनालिटी से मिलवाने जा रहे हैं। आज हम आपको जिनसे मिलवाने जा रहे हैं, बचपन में वो ब्लाइंड हुए, हाल में वो IIT मद्रास में डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ ह्यूमैनिटी एंड सोशल साइंसेस के एसोसिएट प्रोफेसर हैं। इन्होंने अपनी PhD कैम्ब्रिज यूनिवर्सिटी यूनाइटेड किंगडम से की है। इन्होंने IIT में एक्सेसिबिलिटी रिसर्च सेंटर की स्थापना की। इन्होंने एक्सेसिबिलिटी और कोविड और मेंटल हेल्थ पे भी कुछ रिसर्च की है। आज हम जानेंगे इनकी लाइफ के बारे में, एक्सेसिबिलिटी पर इनका क्या कहना है और क्या की फाइंडिंग्स थी मेंटल हेल्थ और कोविड के दौरान। बहुत ही एक्सपीरियंस्ड हैं। इट्स अवर ग्रेट ऑनर टू हैव हिम इन द शो। आज हम आपको मिलवाने जा रहे हैं डॉक्टर हेमचंद्रन जी से। सर, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर गिविंग अस टाइम। ट्रूली ऑनर टू हैव यू।
I thank you too, Danish, for having me on board.
So first of all, tell us a little bit about your life journey. When did you get blind and how this journey started?
Danish, visual impairment was detected by my mom when I was 3 or 4. Maybe when they gave me maybe some sweets or something. I was groping around to reach the chocolate box or something. So my mom said, Chand is having some problem with vision. And my grandpa scolded her saying, hey, you are always suspicious. And then when I start bumping into things, then they took me to doctor and they said it may be too late, but he can have bright future by putting him in special school. So special school, they took some time. Couple of years they took me to temples and churches and mosques and other places in the hope that sight will be restored, and innumerable doctors. And then they took me to a special school, that is Little Flower School in Chennai. So that is where special education journey started.
Professor Hem, I have a couple of questions. I want to draw some distinction. A, you told that you are around 50 now. So we are probably talking about 75, 76, correct?
What is 75, 76? I'm not 75-year-old.
No. We are talking about 1975 and 1976.
Yeah, that's right.
So, one, were your parents aware that blind can study? We need to admit him in the special schools. So how that awareness took place? And second, when I spoke to people, particularly from the South India, I found the atmosphere in special schools in South India as compared to North India or other parts of India is more constructive and productive. So do you see this, or you think it's only a matter of perception?
Actually, I don't want to put it that way.
Hmm.
See, special schools are special schools, meaning, see, some are better endowed by way of material and money, and some are not. And some are stuck in the old school ideas, meaning we need to teach only the basic skills. The rest is not their business. And some are also stuck in the idea that certain disciplines like math and science or engineering is not for these kids. Okay. So there are limitations, such limitations. South or north or west or east, all of them will have different limitations. And special schools exist in the first place because mainstream schools are not yet fully inclusive. The idea has just begun, far distance to cover. That is why special schools exist in the first place. So that is how I like to look at it then.
Right. But what about my first questions? Were your family aware, कि
No,
blind
they were
can
not.
study?
They were not. They were not. So they have to fumble around. As I said, take me to different people, faith healers and doctors, specialists, wise men, and so on. And in the end, they stumbled on a doctor who said, "Hey, there is a special school behind just a kilometer away. You put him in that school, and things will happen." So I remember that day, some 30, 40 of my relatives, granduncles and aunties, akkas, all, huge gang, taking me to that school and then admitted me. And then the teacher asked me to play, and I played for a while and slept. So that was my first school day. So my special school days were very special. Sister Florence, I particularly remember. She taught me braille. She taught me how a tree looks, plants look. They had stuffed toys like duck, chicken, and so on. So it's very special. I mean, of course, the special schools that I went had limitations, such as the ones that I mentioned. Like they did not think that children can do
Math and science.
STEM and so on.
Hmm.
But talking only about that limitation is not a good idea. They did some good things.
Professor Hemji, tell us about initial challenges of that time. How do you see in academia? Did we improve, or education gone worst from that era till now? How do you see? What were your initial challenges, and then how do you compare 90s, 70s, 80s time and now's time, particularly with regard to education?
See, 80s and 90s, they were still primitive, meaning the special school foundations that were laid in 1800 and 1900. So that was the approach, meaning teach braille, teach language, teach music, and teach some basic mobility skills. So that was the idea. And across the spectrum, this was the truth. And I was part of the truth. Okay. But now, 2025, a lot of gadget revolution has come. Screen readers have become available, often open source. Some gadgets, affordable ones, are coming in India now. A lot of NGOs are working in the field, and a lot of awareness campaigns are going on. But have we made enough? Have we given enough choices, as it were, to disabled children, vision impaired including? That's not yet happening. High quality training has to start early on. So I think that is where things have to be pushed.
What were your initial challenges?
My initial challenge was to convince people that I can do things like engineering or math. I was good at math actually. I can grasp things. I got 100 in math most of the time, including high school, most of the classes. So I could also relate it to science like physics. I loved it. I loved the way uh, people talked about, imagined about light and sound, and used to experiment with boxes and so on. Even though I cannot
But
see it.
how did you manage the higher studies in maths and on?
No,
Because
higher studies I did not go for math. That's the
hmm,
challenge. So I was interrupted seriously and said, "You cannot do that." And then I did not do that. I went for literary. I took commerce for 11th and 12th, and commerce again. I was not given math. They said math you cannot do. So these were, and then after commerce, they said without math there is no use in studying BCom. Then I took BA in English.
from where you completed your graduation? From which
Loyola College. Loyola.
Loyola
Chennai.
College.
Yeah.
Loyola College has produced a lot of great persons.
Loyola is one of the finest liberal arts college, arts and science. So we are talking about not choice,
Hmm.
but forceful slotting of people into one or other areas. If this is the case for vision impaired students, and the case is much worse for children with other conditions such
Correct.
as intellectual and developmental disabilities, where humanities and social sciences are also discriminatory. Hmm?
Hmm.
100%, not even 99. So we are talking about a very large spectrum, and disciplines are yet to catch up with human diversity when it came to disability.
When you were in 1980s time or 90s time,
Hmm.
so have you ever thought that one day you will complete your PhD from Cambridge University and one day you will be teaching in IIT Madras?
IIT Madras 1991, our 10th standard teacher took us here. They said all brainy people study here. We have come here. They took us on a jeep. We had a small jeep in our blind school, and we were let loose, and we came, and some nice deers and birds and trees, and we met some students, some akas and annas that time. We were told they are brilliant and all that. So that time we did not imagine that one of us would make it. Uh, yeah, I mean, uh, but I always thought that I should pursue higher education. That is for sure.
And how was your experience at Cambridge?
UK is a different system. It's a first nation, first world. So they have organized setting. For example, roads are organized. For example, in zebra crossing, there's cobbles at the bottom. We are talking about universal design now. Hey, universal design doesn't work across the globe anyway, because of different economic conditions and material conditions and so on. But let's stay in the UK for a minute. Uh, so when I'm in zebra crossing, when there is cobbles at the road and I can feel it, and when I unfold my mobility cane, the cars stop, cars and trucks, anything, even if there are hundreds of them. Then I cross the road. When I cross the road, then they go. So such kinds of things cannot happen here, not in the foreseeable future. And accessibility is a systematized work there. See, once my English faculty did not give me enough materials in accessible format, then I went to the Disability Resource Center at that university, made a complaint, and then they sent a legal notice to the faculty. Hey, you need to. It's a legal requirement to give them an accessible format. So it's very formalized institutional arrangement, accessibility. Whether it involves roads or access to knowledge, universities don't have a choice.
Correct.
They are legally mandated, and law happens is on paper and also in practice, because that system is evolved. I'm not I'm not singing songs of praise of Britain. I don't have to do that, but it's an evolved system.
But we should give the credit where it dues, right?
Yeah, exactly, and also it's an evolved system, evolved for 100 years.
Since you have opened up, let's
Yeah.
talk about accessibility. You
Yeah.
you are also a founding member of Accessibility Research Center.
Yeah.
Why did you start it? Have you implemented the same you have seen in Cambridge? And today, where do you find India standing at in accessibility?
There's a series of complex questions. Let's start with the third one. Where does India stand? So a lot of people are doing great work in accessibility, but India is a third world. Means it's a developing society. See, industrial accidents happen, this happens, road accidents happen, factory leaks happen. I'm talking about Bhopal gas leak 30 years ago. Survivors still handle that. So it's a very, and a lot of people get treated like flies without respect and dignity. So we cannot see accessibility without considering all these things. So we are at a different stage of evolution, and keeping that in view, law is catching up. 2016 Act demands certain things. So now we are making elections accessible. A lot of advocates have made Braille possible on EVM. Now we are making, NCRT books accessible digitally. So one at a time, one step at a time, things are happening. And a lot of millions of families do a lot of improvisations in their own homes, surroundings, to make things accessible for their children, disabled children, whatever disability. Yeah. And a lot of them also do not have such support. They get abandoned in the roads and so on. So we are in some way beginning well.
If you have to rate it from 1 to 10, 1 is the lowest and 10 is the highest. So would you give 2 or 3?
We are beginning, so it's not even 1 to 10, out of the plate.
Before I come to your previous questions, let's stick here for a while.
Yeah.
Are we making more noise than what we are doing? Be it activist, be it government. And I thank you so much for being honest in the show with regard to the accessibility, what you are saying, because we can sense that we are beginning.
Yeah. See, noise is important, because sometimes, you have to shout at the railway counter to get the ticket, because somebody who is a VVIP gets a ticket without even going there. So noise is important. Action is also important. Both are happening. I'm not ducking your question. Both the things are important. Otherwise, if you keep quiet, people step on you and walk away. So we are we are a crowded society. So things are happening, but happening multi-pronged way. See, look at this. We are having this conversation because it is happening. Otherwise, you won't be interested in. We can talk about film. Otherwise, because it is happening, we are having a conversation now. Okay, but we also have to talk about privilege. Some people have a way with English, and they have connections. They make it, and so on. All that said, schools and universities, which I'm familiar with, are making some sincere effort. Some universities are better endowed, like mine, than, say, a college in a remote village. They are not endowed well. They don't have enough money to pay for blackboard or bench, no? Or even toilets, clean toilets. Forget about accessible toilets. So it's a mixed picture. Danish, do you agree?
Yes. Tell us about your center.
Center, yes. We call it with a lot of pride the Accessibility Research Center. Don't forget the word the. We established a year ago. We have 8 people on board, including 3 teachers. That is me, Professor Vasa from Design Engineering, and Professor Saji from Management Sciences. We have a lot of interns. All of them have different expertise. For example, Professor Vasa was a dean of students. Saji was a advisor to for inclusive education. The center has only 2 goals. One, work on knowledge accessibility. 2, change public imagination about disabled perception capabilities, if you like. Okay. So how do you do that? First goal, knowledge accessibility. That is, just now we were talking, disciplines are not yet ready. A lot of them. See, we might think that music, a lot of blind guys are doing music. So music should be accessible. Not at all. If that were the case, we should have had quite a lot of music teachers. Unfortunately, employment is a big problem in the disability sector. So that means disciplines have not done enough to train them well, and 2, take them on board when they are ready as teachers and administrators and so on. It's not ready. So we want to pursue, for example, say philosophy or physics. Somebody, say a hearing impaired child, or wants to go for pursue physics with a vision impairment or hearing impairment. Some college will say, hey, you cannot do. How do you see light? By the way, some world famous professor asked me, how do you teach daffodils? Because you cannot see clouds. That kind of attitude people have. So we are after people who cross the bridge. For example, we now have on board somebody called Hobie Whittler from America. He has a PhD in organic chemistry and he's blind. So we want him to teach online how the hell to do chemistry with vision impairment. And that too, PhD, and become a professor. So once we make this kind of lessons available for everyone in many Indian languages, Telugu, Tamil, Hindi, and so on, somebody else will say, hey, look, you cannot deny me admission in chemistry because look, this kind of materials are available. So that's one goal. The second goal is to see, we are IIT, so there is plenty of technological interventions we can possibly do. And many other IITs such as IIT Delhi and IIIT Bangalore, they're already doing that, along with Vision Empower and so on. But changing popular imagination will not be complete if we do it within the 4 walls of a university. We have to take it beyond. A podcast like this can be a chance. We are also working on museums, change public perception. We have a museum, accessible science corner in Periyar Science Museum near IIT Madras, where we have created some example of ocean sciences. How does an ocean bed look like? How does a undercurrent sound like? How do some wonders of the ocean, like corals, they look like? Touch it, see it, hear it. Multisensory system. And we hope to build that learning to other sciences like space sciences. How does outer space look for children, school children, and so on, and cover different disabilities and including non-disabled children, change public perception about what, hey, anybody can do anything, that approach, and then take it from there. I know it's lofty. We may not even achieve 1% of what we want to achieve, but still it's worth doing, right? Along with
Absolutely.
others. Yeah.
I think you will achieve.
Thank you, Danish.
Professor Saab, two questions. I want your opinion. One, how do you see the thought of inclusive education in India?
It will definitely happen, Danish, and it's happening. What I mean is, see, there is a lot of discrimination. Let's start there. Okay. So, a lot of people get frustrated, very angry. For example, somebody will have very finest achievement. For example, let me quote a real example. I know Professor Sushma Agarwal. She is the first blind woman to do a PhD in math in India. She did PhD in abstract algebra from IIT Madras. And she has to wait for 10 years to get her first job because every single college and university said, hey, madam, I know you have a PhD. I know you have written research papers, but teaching is different from learning. That's what they said to her. And at last, she has to say in an interview, I had enough of this. If you're going to interview me as a formality or a legal formality, don't do that to me. If you want to see my merit means kya hai? I mean, my hard work behind it. And what I can deliver, then you interview. They interviewed her and gave her a job in Madras University, and she has outstanding teaching record and so on. And there are a million Sushmas out there who are discriminated.
No, but okay. I am asking you from the perspective of when we talk about inclusive education. So we need infrastructure. We need that mindset. We need that attitudinal shift. India is a country of villages. So it is very easy to say, go and study in the inclusive education. But for that, we have now 21 disabilities. Is it a practical, or are we in a right direction?
100% practical. Not because I'm a permanent optimist. That's a different thing. But on a practical note, see, what we don't need is plenty of money for accessibility. What we need is the right attitude. For example, I'll just cite an example of my accountancy teacher. Because that will help me to put things in perspective. I was in a 11th, 12th standard accountancy classroom with some 90 odd children, other children. So the teacher did not even know that I could not see at all. So he was doing some left side equals liability, right side equals property and assets and balance sheet accountants and so on. And then I told him, sir, I cannot understand your class. Then he said, you should have told me that you are here. Then that time onwards, he was announcing everything that he wrote on the blackboard. Not even one single datum he will enter without announcing it. You know what? In 2 months, I could relate not even 99%, 100% what he was doing on the blackboard. Okay. And not just me, and 90 other classmates found it easier as well. Okay. So that teacher, Mr. Dharmaraj, did not require $50 million to do it. All he required was attitude. Okay. So likewise, India is known for very innovative frugal engineering. What America would do in several $1 trillion, we just do it in $1 million in India in space launch and so on. That logic, and our families are great for that. Indian families, you have only 10 rupees, suddenly 20 people appear from nowhere. Our people at home, ordinary folks who did not go to big colleges and universities, they know how to handle people. So all it requires is an open attitude. Yes, this child can do it. then all you need to do is use the existing resources like water bottle, dabba, maybe a source of inch tape, this and that, to teach math and chemistry, expensive equipments all the time. So I don't. First I need all expensive gadgetry, then I will make science accessible. That's a non-starter, and that's bullshit also.
Great, sir. I think it's very important what you have put forward. Now tell us about key highlights. You have done research on your COVID time on mental health.
Sir, that is not significant now, but all I did was I worked on visually impaired musicians in Chennai who are itinerant singers who make money by going in trains and buses and so on, but make life beautiful in those trains and buses by singing such music. But they were all halted during COVID, and how they survived COVID was my curious question. And interestingly enough, also I came to know them right from my school days. I was not connected with them for a very long time because of our various life journeys and so on. But certainly I could connect and talk to them, and I found certain things that are very nice because, their music itself saved them from disintegration. They did not have money, they did not have human contact, but music in their minds, music in their body helped them survive. And now they are back on track. So it was a detailed study, ethnographic study, and I did some digital ethnography during that time. And globally, I connected with other people who were doing similar studies in United States on other populations. So we were able to exchange ideas and so on.
Sir, last
And now it is
Yes.
behind. Now it is behind.
Right. Last question, sir.
Yeah.
Is disabled youth as a leader doing great, or do you think we need to be more vocal? And there is a shift. Before we used to come on roads, we do movements. Now social media has taken that toll. How do you see this development? Are you happy with the youngsters doing good job in disability sector?
Of course, see, everyone's. My grandma used to say, "The child that cries will get the milk." So, if they want to cry through social media, well and good. All we need is not just talk about entitlements. If we are entitled to something, you need to ask for it. If they're asking through social media, well and nice.
Great, sir. What would be your message to our listeners?
Accessibility is a collective work. I don't think even if you are mighty and wealthy, we can do it alone. We have to do it collectively. So that is, if there is a message, this is one, Danish.
I think this is the crux of the story. The important point. I have done more than 2,000 podcasts, sir.
Wow, great,
And
Danish.
this I first time heard in all those 2,000 episodes. If you want to work on accessibility, you don't need much money than a right attitudinal approach. Thank you so much for this wonderful quote.
Thank you, Danish. It was good talking to you, and for the rare privilege to be on board with you and your
Beautiful, sir.
listeners.
We want to hear you more and more, and I believe you might have enjoyed this podcast, and you will give us time again to talk on some disability issues.
Sure, we will.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for this.
All the best. Thank you. Bye-bye.
तो लिसनर्स, आज बात की हमने प्रोफेसर हेमचंद्रन सर से, जिन्होंने अपनी लाइफ जर्नी, एक्सेसिबिलिटी, कोविड स्टडीज और लीडरशिप पर अपनी बात रखी। कैसा लगा आपको पॉडकास्ट? जरूर बताइएगा। अगले सप्ताह मुलाकात होगी किसी और पर्सनैलिटी के साथ। दीजिए इजाजत। सुनते रहिए रेडियो डाना फ्लाइट ऑफ लाइफ। बाय बाय।
हेलो बेटा, पराठे खा लिए क्या?
नहीं खाए पापा।
सुबह 4 बजे उठ के तेरे सफर के लिए पराठे बनाकर तेरी बैग में रखती हो, तूने खाए नहीं।
भूख तो इतनी लगी थी पापा, पर आप टिफिन के साथ हैंड वॉश रखना ही भूल गए। बिना हैंड वॉश पराठे कैसे खाऊं?
सेवलॉन स्वस्थ इंडिया कहता है, अगर जर्म्स और बीमारियों से रखनी हो दूरी तो खाने से पहले हैंड वॉश है जरूरी।
बड़ी खुश दिख रही हो।
एक्चुअली बड़े अरसे से सुधा मूर्ति की एक ऑडियो बुक ढूंढ रही थी, आज मिली है।
अरे बहुत लकी है तू, हमारे गांव में तो इंटरनेट ही नहीं है।
अरे तुम्हें मालूम नहीं, अब ऑडियो बुक सुनने के लिए इंटरनेट की जरूरत नहीं है। नैप दिल्ली ने लॉन्च की है IVR बेस्ड ऑडियो बुक लाइब्रेरी श्रवण।
इतनी लंबी किताब फोन पे कैसे पढ़ेंगे?
अरे पॉज, रिवाइंड, नेक्स्ट पेज, नेक्स्ट चैप्टर जैसे बहुत से फीचर्स हैं वहाँ।
अच्छा, तो मुझे कॉल कहाँ करना होगा?
ये नंबर अपनी कॉन्टैक्ट लिस्ट में सेव कर ले, 080-711-75215।
लाइब्रेरी की मेंबरशिप भी है कोई?
हाँ, सिर्फ नैप दिल्ली की मेंबरशिप ही काफी है। इससे रिलेटेड अगर ज्यादा जानकारी चाहिए तो 8826261166 पर कॉल कर सकती हो। और हाँ, अपना डिसेबिलिटी सर्टिफिकेट रेडी रखना।
थैंक्स फॉर द इन्फॉर्मेशन यार, फिर तो मुझे आज ही नैप दिल्ली की मेंबरशिप लेनी होगी।
तो अगर आप भी IVR बेस्ड ऑडियो बुक लाइब्रेरी का लाभ उठाना चाहते हैं तो आज ही कॉल करें 080-711-75215। मैं एक महिला हूँ, मुझे पता है कि हम सेक्सुअल एंड रिप्रोडक्टिव राइट्स जैसे मुद्दे सबके साथ साझा नहीं कर सकते, जैसे मेंस्ट्रुएशन, बर्थ कंट्रोल एक्सेट्रा। थैंक्स टू एक्सेसिबल एंड नेटवर्क पार्टनर नैप दिल्ली, जिन्होंने लॉन्च किया है अदिति AI चैटबॉट। अगर अब मुझे कुछ भी सेक्सुअल एंड रिप्रोडक्टिव हेल्थ एंड राइट्स से रिलेटेड पूछना होता है तो फटाक से मैं अपना मैसेज टाइप करती हूँ या वॉइस नोट रिकॉर्ड करके व्हाट्सएप पर 08076551617 पर सेंड कर देती हूँ और तुरंत ही मेरी क्वेरी सॉल्व हो जाती है ना कितना सिंपल। और हाँ, आप कॉल करके भी अपने सवालों के जवाब ले सकते हैं। ज्यादा जानकारी के लिए नैब हेल्पलाइन पर कॉल करें 0882626611166 पर। मैंने तो अदिति को अपना दोस्त बना लिया है, क्या आप भी बनाना चाहेंगे?